Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight is the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And speaking of finances, Dominican Republic tourist records for March 2026. The first 3 months tourist records with air and cruise. What does that mean, investors? You tell me. This is a Q&A. This is a meeting of the minds, shall I say. And of course, it's story night since it's Friday night, and welcome. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for being here. Please share the videos because you never know who's out here looking for information. You know, wealth building information, stock information, financial literacy, financial news updates, real estate investing. It's a bunch, but I want to welcome you and make sure you also share the videos as I've already mentioned. Now, let's get into it, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Because the Dominican Republic, they have new records. And since they have new records, I made a video previously today, dropped it. I also am going to talk about it tonight because I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from people that are investing there or who are thinking about investing there in the Dominican Republic and real estate in general, because it all depends on what you're doing that this will matter about tourist records. Why would it matter? Number one, if you're thinking about investing, whether that's in real estate or in a business based on tourism, because that's what islands do, that's where they get the bulk of their revenue generally. So therefore, you need to know the trends and you have to think about the future. So I want to hear from you guys. Like I keep saying, I'm going to say that like 3 or 4 times tonight. I want to hear from you guys because I want to hear what you're thinking when you see stats like this. This particular month of March, it took it out the park. They added over 100 and around 30 to 35,000 people more than last year in the month of March. And March did not have the Holy Week. So that means April should be pretty good as well. So that's what we got to talk about. Now, I'm going to get into the screen because I already made a video today, but live streams are separate and different than these actual other streams. So we're going to look at this real quick and we'll go over it just so you guys can see the numbers tonight. Or if anybody sees this live stream, then you'll know the numbers as well. So we'll get it up for you. And you can see right here, 3,710,374 the first 3 months. That is exceptional. This right here includes air and hotel. So if you're in the cruise line industry, you're probably going to pay more attention to the cruise. If you're at a cruise port, you're probably going to pay more attention to the cruise. If you are a business or investor or have attractions, you might be paying attention more to the actual people that's going to be staying there on average 7 days, 7 nights. 8 days, 7 nights in DR. It's like 7.5 right now. But the point is, people generally stay a week on average. So that's a good sign for everybody that has attractions, business related restaurants that cater towards the tourism industry. And that also brings in extra much needed dollars in peso. Does not really matter. We're referring to money, and therefore a lot more people can eat, shall we say, on the island. All right, let's get into the numbers for real. Air arrivals in the month of March 2026, 953,758. That is off the charts. That rivals December. That's how sweet that is. And 352,108 cruise passengers. And Disney just now said that they are also going to join the party, coming to the DR once again. So that means another cruise ship is coming. They have so many cruise ports in DR. I think they're up to 8 now. I mean, it's a lot. All right. Used to be Puerto Plata, the bride of the Atlantic. I know a lot of you don't know what that is, but that's what it used to be called when that was the cruise destination for the most part. Like 25, 35 years ago, just so you understand. Now, let's keep it moving. The United States led as the main source of tourists. This is very short. 45%, followed by Canada at 23%. These are the top 2 countries in the region that have people with the dollars, USA and Canada. So if you can get, what is that, 68%? Yeah, I thought it was 70. But 68%, I miscalculated on my the video. I thought it was 78%, but 68% is still hefty. That means 32% are coming from the rest of the world. And these are the people that make investments and bring dollars. They could potentially retire in DR. They could start a business in DR. They could buy real estate or another business in DR, or start a business in DR because they have the money traditionally. But now Canadian citizens, 85% are living paycheck to paycheck, and now 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So the tourists are coming, but that's because those people, 20% of the population, is still tens of millions of people that can't afford to come. And in light of the situation in the Middle East right now, people aren't traveling over to the EU and the Middle Eastern areas. So they said, we're going to stay near home. It seems a lot safer. You never know who's going to get hit over there. So you could understand where these months should have an increase. I found something very, very interesting earlier today. So we'll get into that shortly, but this is 68% USA and Canadian citizens. That's a hefty number. Countries such as Argentina, Colombia, and several European nations, that doesn't matter. As you guys know here, we've always talked about the airport where most of the people land. This is very different. This says Punta Cana International Airport handled over half of all arrivals. They did not put in a percentage, just so everybody who may not be familiar with the flow of traffic coming into DR and the airports, which are number 1 and number 2. Punta Cana Airport, traditionally not 50%, traditionally has 60% of the travel, because it could be 62, it could be 58, it could be 64, 65% of all travel to Dominican Republic land at Punta Cana Airport, PUJ. So the fact of the matter is, when they say over half, we need to know how much over half, because if it dropped significantly, like 50% is a significant drop, 10%, that's a significant drop. But we'll get into some other things with that, because that could mean people are going to Santo Domingo, which during high season, Santo Domingo, Las Americas Airport gets more tourists. So it's usually Punta Cana number 1 during December, January, February, and March. and Santo Domingo is number two. And just so you know, Santo Domingo usually during this time frame has 20 about 20% of tourists. All right, during this time frame. Overall, it'll start dwindling as we time goes on. They don't take up as much share when summertime comes in on. But during this prime time, they usually have that. So on the eastern part of the island, northeast, southeast, you have anywhere from 75 to 90% of air traffic landing at two airports in high season. So that's why they were planning on putting that train line from Punta Cana down to Santo Domingo, right? Makes sense. Let's understand why they would do that. So hotel occupancy exceeded 86%. Let me know what you guys think about this hotel occupancy. Because I personally, I don't really like 86% that much because they did 938,000 passengers by air. And to find only 86% did that, because this is a high number. The previous 2 months were in the 800,000s. So we're talking about significant increase, and hotels are not at 90, 95%. And I will say this again, if you invest in real estate and plan on doing short-term rentals, you might consider, I consider uh, hotel unit rentals. Because generally, if you have a short term rental, the only way that you can outpace hotels is one, you're going to be cheaper, obviously, as far as our return on investment. The only way you're going to get a high occupancy rate that rivals hotels, it means generally you reduce the going rate around you. So you get more people to reserve. But the problem, there's no problem, but 86%, I would have expected at least 90. I figured since we had the record for the year, it's more tourists than January and February, but yet February had 88% occupancy. So I don't know quite how this correlates because you had more passengers in the month of March, but you had 2 points, 2 percentage points less hotel occupancy. So that's very interesting. That doesn't mean much. That just could mean a lot more people came and stayed in short-term rentals, right? Which would siphon off some of the points. All right, post-retirement travel is in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And he brings his tagline, another investor in the Dominican Republic. Once, twice, maybe three times, but he's doing the damn thing. He's becoming a mogul. That's right. And he invests in the stock market. So I know he was raising his hands up, doing the salsa dance today because the stock market has been on fire. It's not like you couldn't predict this, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now, we've been talking about this. That's why you have to stay tuned here. If you would have been paying attention, you would have learning your stock trading in the most volatile, best situation I can think of in a long time. Because you know all it takes is a tweet to say the war is going to be a ceasefire. And you know, in the early hours, the market takes off. This is not rocket science at the moment. This is why your wealth transfer is going on right now. Did you know that there was people that put in $760 million about 10 minutes before the Trump announcement of the ceasefire? I wonder who those people are. No, it's not you, because 93% of the stock market is owned by the top 10% of the wealthiest. Insiders, ladies and gentlemen, knew what the announcement was going to be. Yeah, so you know, they just walked away today with a few $100 million between a few friends. All right, let's go. And post-retirement travel. Of course, how about the stock market? Exactly. Tired of the W's? We need some L's to reload the truck. none coming. The tourism in DR is killing tourism at other Caribbean islands. Exactly. DR has one thing going for them that none of the other islands have. DR is the newest star in the Caribbean to invest. At one time, St. Martin. Another time, Jamaica. Another time, St. Bart's, St. Kitts, Virgin Islands. It rotates in the Caribbean because once you maximize your dollars on one island, remember it's an island, then people find out another island has cheap real estate, could use some development to bring more people there. This happens as a cycle. The only question is, why has the United States never used Puerto Rico as a tourism destination? And American citizens don't even have to get a passport to go. Why would you not, as you're the number one country for tourism in the Caribbean? Being a person of color, we know why. And the Virgin Islands, by the way. We know why. All right, let's go. And yes, sucking the life out of the Caribbean tourism and Cuba. Remember, due to this blockade or killing of Cubans by making sure you cut off their electricity by the United States government and things of this nature, those people that normally would be going to Cuba have diverted. Where would you go? Dominican Republic. So again, even though we can be elated by these numbers, there's a reason these numbers are what they are. So let's see who else is in the house. Brian P. Mr. Dividend is here. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And he brings his tagline, Happy Day, Eric. Thank you. I hope all is well with you and your family. It is not. And happy day, SSN fam. Thank you so much for being here once again, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Dividend's in the house. He's been throwing down on the stock market for a few years now. And congratulations to him, because a good day on the stock market, I know he's winning. Now, back to story night, because today, you know, there was supposed to be surgery at 4 p.m. this afternoon. Walked in about an hour and a half before, thinking, okay, anesthesia, they should take her down, get down to emergency. The window where the nurse's station is closed up, and it says, call, because it's after hours. We're like, what is this? Called, said, hey, man, where's my aunt at? Surgery was canceled. I'm like, 2 times now is crazy. No phone calls, no nothing to family members, by the hospital, by the staff. What's even worse? The nurse, when we get to the room, doesn't even know that it was canceled. Your health care, ladies and gentlemen, you want to keep leaving it in the hands of private. The United States government, healthcare for all, can't be worse than this. So that's 2 cancellations for the week. Last Monday, or this past Monday, first month, this week that just went by, and now Friday, and now they're saying, oh, it's going to be on Monday. You do realize when somebody's in a hospital that those days are counting the $10,000, the $15,000, the $25,000 per day, and soaking up insurance dollars. They don't last forever. Putting people at risk who may not have insurance coverage, or who may not have enough money if their insurance doesn't cover. Medical debt is bad. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, is another reason why here we talk about independence, financial independence. get your freedom, and you need assets that pay you, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we talk about here. Now, let's get back to this because this is short, this is sweet. All right. Now, hotel occupancy exceeds 86%, while visitor satisfaction reached 4.5 out of 5 stars, underscoring the continued strength and appeal of Dominican Republic's tourism sector. There is one great thing that they are doing. They have hopped up the tourism experience, not the living and staying there experience, in my opinion, even though we do have some people that get excited that they've built extra highway and all this, that, and the other. Again, there are always something that's not so green on an island. Just keep that in mind. An island has deficiencies inherently built in. Is there enough electrical output? Is there enough fresh water? Is there garbage, sewer, treatments, or places to get rid of it? Where's all that going? All of these things come back as you grow larger and larger and larger. And if you're not planning for it or making things a lot better, getting electricity, more electricity, water treatment centers, starting to put in sewage, which they have no interest in doing. But the fact of the matter is, those things are going to come back to haunt you where you call critical mass, as I will call it. And that means what happens when you have 1.2 million people coming every month. Not with air and cruise. I'm referring to air only, meaning most of those people are going to be staying on that island for 7 days on average. Where's all that waste going to go? How are they going to get this electricity happening all throughout the island at all these locations? Remember, there's some new locations. These cruise ports they're putting in the middle of nowhere, Pedernales, for instance. So that cost a lot of money. So who's going to be paying for it? I don't know, because their tax, the way they collect and do taxes is kind of crazy. So therefore, they're going to have to take it like out of in Nevada, where they take the businesses pay a lot of the tax for the citizens. I guess they're trying to do that model. But again, you can't really do that during seasonal island times. You can't do that, in my opinion. We're gonna find out how this is all gonna turn out in about a year and a half. Yeah, about a year and a half. I anticipate that will be 2027, getting around to 2028. There should be deals galore everywhere, in my opinion, because I believe there will be a slowdown, a significant one. All right, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Post-retirement travel says Punta Cana has also invested a lot of money into infrastructure, new roads, street lights, brand new hospitals, schools, new entertainment like the new cultural centers. Oh, Rainieri, one of the 5 families, Rainieri has a cultural center named after them. And apparently and it looks pretty sharp with the renderings, I have to admit. They're trying to make it something. They're doing a good job on the surface. But by the way, here's what people look at: roads, streetlights, hospitals, schools, entertainment, right? What you're not looking at, which again, I'm looking at sustainability. All of this stuff you're adding, I still can't drink the water. Okay, fine. But the water is toxic. So that means when the food that they're watering in the fields and the water has forever chemicals in there, that's fine. People are on vacation. People are cool. They don't care. But the thing is, if you live there, there has to be something done about toxic water, toxic waste, toxic sewer. You can't just keep building stuff and not have some sort of treatment centers. And treatment centers don't cost, like $1 million. It's tens of millions to create a new one. So the fact that they're not doing this during a boom tourism cycle, which they've had for the last, except for COVID, 1 year, but 6 out of 7, 7 out of 8 of the last years, they've had a tourist uptick. And this year, they're also going to have a tourist uptick. So 2026 is going to end with more tourists as well. My prediction was 9.3 to 9.4 million by air. The thing is, they're already 130,000 this month. The previous months were 40,000 or 50. That's already, I'm only predicting like 400 to 500,000 more. They've already added nearly 200 of the 500,000, which is my max, to get to their 9.4 million by air. Now we're going to find out what's going to happen, but I think April numbers should be good because it was Holy Weeks, and it's still decent. But the funny thing is, July and August are also hot months where people go to the DR, and including even June, which they traditionally have. If there's 800 in January, they might have 700 in July, 730, 740, July and August, 720. So they're going to have about the same numbers, maybe even a little bit more. So they could be approaching outside of my high of 9.4 mil easily. So we're going to see how this works. But I mean, they could be up to 9.5, 9.6, which, again, if you guys know, I've been tracking this for a while. It's they need 10.5 to 11 million. But all I can say is it would be the first time that they've went outside of the markers that I've set in forever. Never have they done it. They've always stayed within this 300, 200, 300,000 by air, 400,000 by air, more. That's it. There's never been a spike of 8.9 to, let's say, 700,000 more, like 9.6. That's never happened. But this could be the year, because people are not traveling over to the Middle East. Dubai, sitting there, could get bombed. Israel, yeah, you're definitely getting bombed. Lebanon, definitely a problem. I mean, that area is, people aren't going. You're not going to Yemen. You're not even going to Saudi Arabia. You're not even hanging out in that area. That in itself, just that area, has a few million people per year. All right. So the fact is, those people are like, hold on, I'll just stay over here. I don't want to be anywhere near, even in Africa, North Africa, anywhere, aka Middle East. I don't want to be nowhere over there. I don't even want to be in Europe right now. But they know that the European countries are saying, hey, man, USA, you're on your own. There's no reason for them to bomb us just because of you. So we're catching strays? Nah. We're making money over here. We don't need to mess up our economy for this nonsense. But that's all another story. All right, let me know what you guys are thinking when you see these type of numbers. Oh, and by the way, let me go over to something else, so people will see this too. This will be pretty cool. Here's tourism analytics. And if you want to go read this directly, because they don't give much information here, sadly. And I should point out, since we did have a stock market explosion today, Dominican Republic explosion, stock market explosion, I should point out that the real Shane is in the house as well. All right, here is the Dominican Republic, Dominican Today article that you guys can read. It doesn't really give much info. I just read the whole thing. I mean, they're keeping it short and sweet. They're not giving you any other info. But that's what tourism analytics is for. They're going to give you some info. So here we are with last year's hotel rates, right? So look, 83%, right? 86% for the month of February, 83% for January, 81.6% for March. So here's the deal. If we have this, we went up to 86% this year, which is 3%. Well, okay, we'll call it 3% more than the previous of 2024. So they're rocking with numbers pretty close. This right here is 2 percentage points higher than last year. This year, they're saying it's 86%, which is 3% higher than 2024. But see, 2024 versus 2025, it was lower. And then they were all lower all the rest of the months. All right? So look, all the way through October, there's 80% in December. So we're going to find out real fast what's going to happen for the month of April in about 4 weeks or less. And we're going to find out if it's going to be over 80%. Because you can see what normally would happen. The trend so far is they should hit 80% because they are exceeding 2024 numbers, which are higher than 2025. So this should be good as well. April should be good. And here goes, I want to show people this right here. Air stopover visitors, non-resident. Here we go. Look at this. Is very interesting. See how you have half of all tourism to the island comes from USA and Canada. All right? That's the funniest part. It's 8.8, but you had 4.4. So, just saying, that's why it's significant. If you have a slowdown with the US and Canada, that's hefty. Everybody else only has 400,000 or less. So, keep that in mind. And here goes this stopover that I was referring to. Here's Santo Domingo. You can see it, 21%. All right? Next up, Punta Cana, 61%. After that, Sabao. So again, you can see Eastern Coast. That's why there's a lot of huge investments on the Eastern Coast, whether it's Southeast or Northeast, because there's a runway for these guys. And if they keep increasing, let's just keep things like, if things keep increasing, let's just say 5%, 4% annually. That's not going to cut it if they keep building. If they just cut off building right now, then everybody would be able to eat. There wouldn't be businesses keep growing because they wouldn't keep building these, like Pedernales I mentioned already, or Cabo Rojo. They wouldn't have built that cruise port either. So therefore, people would have went to other areas on the island because there's all kind of cruise locations. La Romana has cruise location. Puerto Plata, which was the old-time Bride of the Atlantic. So again, these are the type of things that you have to start thinking. Are we going to keep expanding, or are you going to make it where all of a sudden you have enough stuff? Let's get down to the infrastructure, because we want people to live here and we want people to be a tourist here at the same time. They have the best of both worlds. Kind of like how Florida had the best of both worlds at one time, where they would have, like, from December until April 15th, they had this massive influx of tourists. And businesses would be able to eat off of all of that. And then during the low season, which you can see right here on the screen, it's readily available, right? You can see what happens. Here's what happened last year. You had 759, 740, and in March you had 819,000. Then you had 749, but you generally just stayed 700, 600, 700s, 800, 700s, 400s, 500s, 700s, and then a 976, which again, this is off the charts itself. So now we have 9 something in March, 8 something in January and February. But again, I fear that it's based on the war situation overseas, where that's where I think we're getting an extra, like, 50,000 people, 100,000 people, somewhere like that. Plus spring break and things. But this is the whole point. Let me know what you guys think about this. This is a hotel occupancy once again this year, 84% the first month, 88%, and they're only at 1.1%. Well, 1%, which they won't be able to maintain this, but if they were able to, 1% would be like another 800,000 people. Or no, that'd just be 80,000 actually. Not enough. We need more. That's for hotel occupancy. We need these numbers, these point changes. We don't need 1%. We really need like a 5% jolt. But how do you get a 5% jolt? Well, you can't. There's a reason you can't get that, and it's very simple. It's because you have you're building more hotel rooms as we speak. The one at I saw Isabella has a video that came out that was looking awesome, which is at Macau, I guess they're calling it now. It's next to Hard Rock, the Moon Palace. Moon Palace has over 2,000 units. This is in Punta Cana. That's not even online yet. That's going to be an all-inclusive, yes, but that's just one place on the island that's adding 2,000 units. They have like 20 hotels that's going to be completed between now and 2027. And they're going to add like 5 to 10,000 hotel units. So therefore, you're going to have to keep, numbers don't lie. And what you really wanted was the actual real reality of the situation is what you really wanted was investors to come invest, buy property, buy that second semi-rental home, buy a home or condo or townhouse that you want to do short-term or long-term rentals. That's what you really wanted, because now you have people that's staying there, living there, with potentially more people living there once you bring in more infrastructure called business, and not some DR business where people are still getting paid $12,000-$13,000 for a year, while the cost of living is going up due to El Gringos, right? Because you're investing there, prices are going up, but the people aren't getting a 20, 30, 40, 50% price increase or 100% price increase. They still get Dominican wages for the most part. So that causes a problem. And we don't need those problems. You need your citizens to make money. That's how they keep buying your goods and services without sweating, without having to make the choices. Brian P., he says, check out your emails. Man, he's going to give me some bad news. Some more bad news. Remember, I told you guys on Wednesday about this healthcare system. It just never disappoints. It just never stops. Never. Never. It's just sad. All right. Let me know what you guys are thinking out here. I'm pretty sure we have lots of comments. We're going to check the emails. Let's go. Punta Cana has invested a lot of money into infrastructure, new roads, street lights. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know, but that's not the thing. Think about this. Again, first of all, I can't drink the water is number one, right? Second of all, I can't even trust the food source, really, because you're on an island. So now I just need the basics. I just need you really have a nice sewer system so you don't have stuff in the streets. I have just a nice garbage pickup crew so you just don't have fields of debris everywhere. That type of stuff. because those are the things that would hurt you in the long run if you keep running down and it smells like, you know, it smells very bad in the street because it flooded, right? Electricity turns off because there's basically has to be a blackout because you can't deal with the electricity use. These type of things matter. So all the nice looking things, again, that's not what I concentrate on. All right, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. I've been noticing an increase in OTA, online travel agents. That's right, bookings on the Orlando property. Majority of these are over 10 consecutive nights. I don't like these because of the discounted rate. Exactly. Exactly. People don't know what that means. He's with Margaritaville, and what they use is online travel agents. So now they have a built-in amount that, since they're an online travel agent, the broker automatically has a deal. Then they have to pay the travel agent money. So actually, they're taking more money out of post-retirement travel and other owners' pockets. And they give a discounted rate because they go, oh, 10 nights is this. And when some place could potentially cost $500 per night, and then somebody says, well, why stay for 7? That's $3,500. You could stay for 10 and it's $4,000. See? And that's generally how it goes. But because sometimes you buy blocks, there's all kind of reasons why things can happen, but you can buy blocks of rooms, or so that reduces the price. There's several things that can happen. Deals on last minute, all kind of stuff there that goes on in the travel biz. And yeah, I don't like it either, but that's the nature of the beast. When you have a property manager, which is Margaritaville, they're the ones that's running the rentals. So it's not like you can sit there and say, hey, I don't want those rentals, I don't think. And why would you not really want them? You're just, it's reduced, but at least you're still on the profit. Now, in the case of post-retirement travel, he can't really bitch that much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you why. Because he bought in when I should have bought in. I missed out on like 3 or 4 deals in Florida. I really don't like Florida that much, but I just missed out. $250,000 for his bungalow. And now they're probably worth $1 million because of the revenue they generate. We're talking about revenue of 6 figures a year. If you have revenue of 6 figures, and let's just use a number like a simple number, 100,000. Generally, with a property management team, you're automatically going to have 50 to 55% is gone. So you know this is 50%, which is 50,000, 45,000. Which, again, if you put in 250,000 and you're getting 45, 50,000, that is a huge win. Because you guys know 0.1% means 2,500 at 50% for the month. And 50% occupancy rate, $2,500, $250, I'm sorry, 0.1%, $250 per night. So if you're able to charge $500 per night, and you can still get 60, 70, 80, 90% occupancy, ladies and gentlemen, you don't just make 50%, you get to make 60, 70, 80% profits. And that's why he gets to win. Everybody else now, because of those profits, now that property is worth, he can tell us, but I would believe right now with the numbers, they got to be somewhere between 800 to $1 million. And a person who buys at 800 to $1 million is in a whole different category because their ROI is so much different. Because if you had to invest 800 and somebody tells you, well, you're going to get $60,000 a year, You might say, okay, that's cool, but that's not even 10%. And I can just easily just do the salsa dance on the stock market and say, give me JEPQ, and at least I get 11 and I don't have to sweat. Just saying. Plus other options. But again, it makes things totally different. And if you had to do a mill and you make 60 G's, 70 G's, again, 7% on your money, 6% on your money. You got all kind of options when all it is 6 or 7 or worse. So that's where the problem comes in. He's going to be fine. It's the new people who buy that's going to have to worry about this type of thing, because you can only charge so much more than what his unit costs are, and his unit is closer to where the amenities are. That's a huge advantage in real estate. You don't want to be, if you're in a project, it could be a project, condo project, hotel units, you don't want to be far from the amenities. That has less value, less rental value, no matter how you slice it. So again, we have a situation that's going to come up in DR where people are going to be running around with these hotel type management scenarios, because the management company makes you sign an agreement. They say 25% of your I don't know, gross goes to us, which is crazy. That's crazy. And so you're losing significant sums of money, especially with high occupancy rates if you're in that scenario. And that's where we're going. Interesting. There were more arrivals into Punta Cana Airport than into Santo Domingo from 2024 to 2025. Punta Cana Airport have adjusted prices. Now you can find cheaper rates flying into Punta Cana. Yes. The funny part is this. I haven't checked Santo Domingo. It used to be the cheapest place to fly into was Santo Domingo because the taxes were less. Punta Cana taxes used to be way less. We're talking about like $25 in and out each way. Well, actually $25 in, $15, $20 out. So that's why there used to be Punta Cana used to be like, oh, $199, $159 round trip on the East Coast. They could do that. Now their taxes are like $50, $60 coming in and $40 going out. But they can do that because they're having high tourists. 60% of all tourists who go to the DR land at Punta Cana Airport. So that's a win for them. An L for people traveling because their flights have actually increased in price. There's no longer hardly any 149s, 199s round trips on the East Coast. And if you're not on the East Coast, then it's way more. It's $300, $400, $500 round trip. When before you used to be able to do $350 round trip for most of America until you went to the East Coast. The West Coast. The West Coast would be in the fours. But now things are like $200 more than they used to be. But there's a reason. To Punta Cana. I haven't checked out Santo Domingo. But finding cheaper flights into Punta Cana is a major win for Punta Cana. They have enough flights. They could have always lowered their prices, which they used to have low prices. And so now to find out they're low, beating everybody, they should. They have the most people that's arriving there. They should under no circumstance have the highest airfare. They can make it up with the volume, which is what they should be doing. So Punta Cana, again, why did we talk about and target Punta Cana in the first place? 5, 6, 7 years ago? Ladies and gentlemen, because we knew the numbers. You should know the stats when you make investments. Dominican Republic, tourist records should be happening for the next 5 years if they play their cards right. All right, just keep that in mind. Oh my God, Eric. The Moon Palace will be the beast in Punta Cana. Every room has ocean view. Really? That tower has over 20 floors high. I know. It's an impressive building. Should be opening in the next 2 years. Exactly. It will be. I wonder if we can tap into online travel agents with our properties? No. Well, unless you have where you can rent it out yourself, then yes. But if you have a property management system, no. So, just saying. And by the way, we have some Larimar news. Saddens me to say, but come to find out, you can't do your own Airbnbs. They are changing the rule. They said 25% management fee. They don't even know if they're going to have rental pools or not, or if everybody's on their own. Traditionally, what's going to happen is they're going to put people in a rental pool, which means if we have 50 units and 70% of the units are rented out, that's 35 of the units for the majority of the time. Just for mathematical sake, that means the other 30%, 15 units per night, aren't being rented. Everybody who rented their units will have their profit, part of their profit, siphoned off to go to those units that did not rent. So that reduces how much you're going to make. And that hurts, in my opinion. So I'll use, it doesn't matter what I use. If a place has ocean view and you charge, I'll just use an arbitrary number, $300 per night. And the one in the back that has no view and just sits in the complex, and they charge, what could it possibly be, $200 per night. Your unit at $300 per night, let's just say over the course of a year, you have a 75% occupancy rate. The unit in the back has an occupancy rate of 40%. But yet, they're going to be taking money out of your pocket because you purchased that cool unit up front that cost more money, by the way. The other person said, no, I don't need that expensive unit. I'm going to buy this cheaper one out back. And then they get to share in. See, I have problems with that scenario. Just like story time at Clear Lake, California, when I was building the house and the guys come out, that's the architectural committee, who said I couldn't build my house an extra 2 feet high, even though it's below the county regs, but the homeowners association had regs 5 feet lower than the county regs. So they come out to the lot. We're standing out there. I'm looking around because imagine this. You look down, you see a lake. You turn around and you see a downward grade for like a half a mile. So I turn around and I'm like, why aren't you guys giving me this little agreement, giving me that easement to go up an extra 2 feet? 3 dudes looked at me with a straight face and said, do you see those guys way back there? I was like, way back where? There's nobody that even, anybody, everybody's below my grade by 20, 30 feet. And there's homes already there they can't build. They go, oh no, we're talking about the guy on the hill back over there. I said, that's a half a mile away. What are you talking about right now? Yes, I got indignant, ladies and gentlemen. I got indignant. I have to admit, because I was in shock. I was like, are you kidding me right now? I said exactly what should have been said. Well, then you tell them assholes to come up here and buy the lots up here then if they're concerned about their lake view. 2 feet, gentlemen? Seriously? And by the way, there was no other house that was going to have 2 feet or even close to it. Actually, I shouldn't say that. One other guy, he said F the HOA, and he built like 30 feet high, which still met the county regs. And the HOA, us, that's right, you pay HOAs, that's us, had to sue him and had to have his house redone somewhat. I was laughing. I said, this is crazy right now. So anyhow, those idiots are running the asylum. They got voted in. Now it goes to their head. They're on the architectural committee. They're gatekeeping. I'm sitting there like, you guys have seen the plans of the house. What are you doing right now? I said, this footprint is like special. And it brings up the value of every house on the street, across the street, within an eighth of a mile. What are you guys smoking right now for 2 feet? And you're worrying about some dude half a mile away? Oh yeah, man, I got pissed. I got really upset about it. So anyhow, it got so upsetting that I had to go to the HOA meeting and voice my opinion. And while I was voicing my opinion, some things slipped out. What? Changing the rules while in flight? Exactly. Are you kidding me? Exactly. Sounds like a condo hotel now. Exactly. In a system like you need to have a unique unit, you want returns to ask for your unit when they return. Exactly. Just what your brother's doing when he got the interior designer. That interior designer was worth her weight in gold because the unit that he created with her, he gets extra rentals because of the way it looks. And if everybody had that same weak-ass Noval type property where you all go to the same place, put in these same little recliner situations, same BS couches, now what? That's not good. There's a reason, right? So that's exactly right. So now we go to the HOA meeting. I come up in there. I'm like, hey, man. Yeah, I was much younger, by the way. But still with the same fire and vigor. I'm sitting in there going, man, Mr. Bird, yeah, I need you guys to give me an exception. You need to reconsider this. I need you guys to vote on this stuff right now. You guys already seen the plans. You guys already know what's happening. You already know I got approved with the building permits. Building department already signed off. What are you guys doing? Well, we can only have 22 feet high. We can't let you go 24 feet high. Why not? You let the other dude go more than 24 feet high. Well, that's because we had to do a lawsuit. Okay, so what? What part of my property brings up everybody's property? It ain't like I'm building that little freaking outhouse down the way. What the hell's wrong with you people? They're like, well, we're not going to let it slide. You're going to have to come redo your plans, redo this, that, and the other. I said, how about this? I got indignant and I said, I'm going to tell you something right now. Your guys are going to turn this into Dollar Tree, dollar store is going to be right on this street, right next to our golf course, right next to the clubhouse. When people come up here, because you guys are stifling progress and you're also stifling people who are going to build homes that make other people want to come and live here and build these type of homes and create an environment that's upscale, luxury, and cool. Why do you think we have the golf course and a clubhouse and a pool and fitness and ocean view, lake view? And why do you think we have a boat launch? The only HOA that has a boat launch here with a snack bar, pool tables down there at the boat launch area. What are you guys smoking? And we have an 18-hole golf course too. And we have lake views all over the damn place. Except for those people behind me that's a half a mile away. Come on, man. They're like, Mr. Bird, you need to sit down and try to calm down. I'm like, no, man, you're messing up the value of my property right now. And everybody else is in here. You know what happened 3 years later? Dollar General is exactly where I said. As soon as you come at our entrance, there's a retail center. Dollar General's there. Stores are closed up around there. Because that little maneuver that they did and stopped me and a few other people from putting in valuable homes, creating an atmosphere for everybody, those didn't get made. So therefore, everybody's piece of crap stuff that they built as a second home or a vacation home that sits there 6 months out of the year vacant, those little 2-3 bedroom 1,500 to 2,000 square foot homes, that's all that's sitting out there for the most part. Every now and then there's something, but now you have no new revenue coming in from higher price homes, no new HOA monies coming in because people aren't building those little things. Now all of a sudden you have downhill spiral. They didn't listen. So you want returns to ask for your unit when they return. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's why if you invest in real estate, it matters. But yeah, they're changing the rules, man. Yeah, it's not a condo hotel, but I said the same thing when I found out today. Because, oh, by the way, if you own it, Larimar, they will do the in-house. Because you know there's several people here. I'm not the only one that stopped payment. But they will do the in-house where somebody can actually give you money that you have potentially put down, or even more, because some people are different, right? You're going to say, well, let's say I purchased for like 130, the 2-bedroom. Let's say they're selling the 2-bedroom for 175. Doesn't matter what the number is. I don't know. Somebody might go, man, the unit's 175, 130. I put down like 50 G's. So give me, give me like 10 G's more. So I put down 50. So give me 10 to 15 G's more. Because you actually are going to still get a deal. So that could happen. So things could fall through. But Larimar does allow you to do in-house. So if somebody owns it, Larimar, and you know somebody that wants to take over, well, most payments are over, but even if you own Paradise, well, Paradise is over too. Breeze Towers, some Breeze Tower owners, well, Breeze Towers, who was going to have delivery in December, well, you only got 7 months left, so it doesn't really matter. But all I'm trying to say is, that you could, if you want to get out of your situation, they will transfer it over to the person. It's up to you how much you and the person agree to exchanging money. But they will sign it over before delivery, which means you're off the hook for if you had to do financing instead of paying cash and all that type of thing. So that's what's going on. And yes, this condo hotel, they're not calling it a condo hotel, but they're treating it like, and I'll say, here's the first problem. 7 months. Here's where I have a problem with this Larimar scenario, right? If you guys went to their office, right? The guys like the owner or the CEO, Juan Andreas, right? The guy's like an architect. He comes up with ideas. He's the CEO for a reason. But you got guys that are sitting there in the offices who, you know, they're part of the management team, and they seem a little arrogant. They may have a right to be, I don't know, but they seem a little arrogant, and they don't want to. They just want to keep doing foul stuff. It was for the kids, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I use okay. They got to do foul stuff like this. It's just foul. So they go, oh, yeah, well, you know, when you were buying in 2022, 2023, maybe even 2024, we told you that you could do your Airbnb as long as you have your own, you could even have approved your own management team or management company. We'll have a few companies you can choose from. I was like, well then, All I got to do is have a company that's going to charge me 20% and have them get approved. And they're going to have to be a good company, of course, but I would make my own deal. So now that's off the table. Apparently, they're going to be doing everything based on the thing that a lot of people who watch this channel, when we were talking about real estate in other countries, everybody said, well, I don't want my neighbor to be charging $50 per night. And I bought my place for $200,000 and they're charging $50 per night. I don't want that. So it should be under property management. I was like, oh man. Again, you guys know, if you're new here, you should know something. I don't look at it that way. Because once you're on Airbnb, short-term rental platforms, VRBO, and others, you don't care. You should not care. The only reason you care about how much somebody else is charging is just for numbers' sake. Here's the thing. If you have 50 units, and let's just say everybody has a 2-bedroom unit. It doesn't matter. 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, everybody has the same unit. And everybody's unit, for one, is not furnished the same. That's number one. Aesthetics matter. And location in the complex is not the same for everyone. So I don't really care if the dude in the back 40 charges $50 per night, nor do I care that the guy who has ocean front decides to wake up one day and go, hey, I'm going to charge $50 per night. I am not going to care. Because you're supposed to go by the rules. Your furnishings matter. Your decor matters. Your kitchen matters. Your master bedroom matters. What you decide to design on that in your apartments or villas or townhomes, pictures on the wall matter. Rugs, put in the right area rug places matter. What's on your balcony matters. Your view from your balcony matters. So if somebody wants to have an ocean view unit and charge $50 per night, by all means. Because what's going to happen is somebody's going to book that thing up like 6 months ago, 4 months ago. That thing's not going to sit around that long. So get it off the table. In fact, I've had people on Airbnb send me a message and tell me something like, I like your unit, but, somebody else is charging $150 a night and you're $300 per night. And I would always try to be kind, and I was and am. I would say, I suggest you hurry up and book it, please. Because once that's off the table, guess who's next? And when you're in a high occupancy location where there's limited number of units, I don't mind waiting until a month or a month and a half before, or even 2 weeks before. But I am not doing, just because the other dude's doing 150, I'm not going, oh, I guess I got to worry and match. That's crazy. While that dude's taking 150, he has to rent twice as much as me for my one. It's 2 to 1 for him. So his 7-night span, he makes the same as I do. He got to do 2 weeks, and all I got to do is 1. So let him. He can keep doing that. I don't really care. That's the problem. So now we're in this situation where all of these developers that's doing these mega projects all of a sudden realize once they build, once they collect the money, they're no longer going to be HOA. So now what are they doing? They're going, well, hold on, man. We'll just be HOA. We'll just be property managers now, because now we can collect 25% of what we built for life. So now I said to them, I was like, you guys are not, that's not what you were saying before. I'm referring to Larimar. I'm referring to a bunch of places because all these places are doing the same thing. They're changing up in the midst of being late during delivery. Then after your delivery date came and they're wasting another year, two, three, all of a sudden they're saying, well, the rules now is this. And now, by the way, we want to charge you late fees for you not paying. Because that's right. Remember, I didn't pay. So they were starting to say something about, we might charge late fees. I was like, you ain't. I said, you might charge late fees, but we'll have a conversation because you didn't deliver on time. So I don't even know what you're talking about. And furthermore, you're telling me you're going to deliver December 2026. I said, why are you guys like this? Why are you guys arrogant like this? You know you can't deliver prime towers in 7 months. You're on floor 6 in 2 towers, just the prime towers. Never mind the other stuff that they're never going to have anytime soon. It's like, so you expect people to live at prime towers, even if you could deliver December 2026. You're going to have one pool. You're supposed to make another pool at prime towers in between the 4 towers. That generally takes 7 months. And you haven't even started that. So I'm like, why are you worried about collecting any money when you guys are over and then you're going to try and charge me? This is what my argument's going to be. How are you going to try and charge me a late fee for not paying? Because they brought up like, oh, we got to check late. I was like, what? And again, you guys know my position. I actually was a raw guy for them, and they were I wasn't getting paid for all these people that decided to buy at Larimar because they saw the videos. They didn't call me up because I wasn't a broker at the time. I didn't become a broker in DR, and I was never a broker for them. So in fact, I was never a broker for the Larimar project at all. The only reason anything happened was because of Gennaro and Gwen, because I would have them on. And then they would say, Eric, come on, man. We got to give you a little bit of something for these people are calling us and getting some and buying at Larimar. So I was like, no, man, I just like the project. And then finally I was like, okay, man. All right, you guys can let me have like 1%. They said, we'll give you like 1%. I was like, all right, man, whatever. I don't really care. So then I didn't realize how many people were watching and how many units were being sold, but I didn't care. So everybody's eating, everybody's having fun. Larimar's getting these free leads. Gennaro's getting free leads. I get 1% of a few deals. Fine. But that was it. Then 2 years in, I said, you know what? Let me become a broker. But by that time, it was already too late because by 2024, the Larimar situation got out of hand because these guys to this day still lie. They said, oh, September 2025, December 2025, we're going to have Horizon 1, Horizon 2. Now we only have Horizon 1. I mean, there's so many different things. Not only this condo, hotelish type of stuff. There is one thing, though, according to, oh, by the way, there's one thing. It's not in writing. And I had to tell them today. I said, hey, they go, can we make a phone call? I said, I don't really like talking on the phone with you guys because you guys say a lot of things and they don't end up becoming true. So I prefer to have something in writing. So then that way, nobody can say I'm lying. I made stuff up. No, I need it in writing. So any of our correspondence, I would mind if you just send me back something. Now, this is one of the representatives that works for Larimar, mind you. So, sure enough, do you have anything in writing about this 25%? They send me over a brochure. This is how crazy this is. They send over a brochure, and it says that there's going to be short-term rentals. It says we got the best of the best company that's going to make sure that you're going to be making money, all this glitz and glamour. But nowhere in this brochure thing does it say anything about 25%. Nowhere. So I say, where's the 25%? Oh, well, that's what it's going to be. I'm like, see, with you guys, I don't go by that's what it's going to be because you guys talk too much crap. But it probably will be 25%. I don't think that would be out the realm of possibility. So then in the brochure, I see something weird. They don't say nothing about the 25%. They say in the brochure, and if you want the brochure, it's on our SSN Lifestyle WhatsApp group. I posted it today for the Larimar brochure for the short-term rental. And you'll see some things are missing. But except for when they said a furniture package. I was like, are you serious right now? There's a serious package. I think the one bedroom was like 16,000, the two bedroom was 20 some thousand, and there's a penthouse. So there must be a penthouse. Yeah, the penthouse unit I think was 30 some thousand. I didn't even pay attention after the second one. But the point I'm trying to make is these guys, they have the furniture package in there. I was like, but you don't have the rental agreement anywhere. Oh no, it's not made yet. I'm like, you're telling me you're going to deliver in 7 months. Would you? So then I said, this is how annoying this is. Then I said, hey, you have thousands of owners. Why hasn't owners received any information about this 25% management if you're going to do short-term rentals and you can't do Airbnb and all that? Oh, well, we go by individual contact, something to that effect. I'm like, are you? So literally, they're doing their shady shenanigans by not telling people, which it should be told while people are buying, before people are buying, but they don't do it. Which, by the way, I'm probably going to make a video about it. But the point is, this is wild. Just wild stuff. Same crap. So when I say the arrogance that they have, I'm sitting there like, no, you can't. You got to write this stuff down because I'm telling people about it. They're not going to believe this. That you guys are seriously doing this to people. And you're late and still being arrogant about it. I don't understand. Are you saying they're allowing switching of units like I did in Galaxy? Yes. That's what it means. I switched from Gulf to Oceanside and just pay the difference? Yes. But what they're talking about is there's only like 2 or 3 companies that will allow this. They're talking about a person can take over your contract. So that person can give you your down payment, which is what my situation would be. And maybe I get a little extra, whatever. 5,000 extra. By the way, Caesar. But, yeah, so they basically take over my contract by giving me what I put down. Or whatever we agree to. Maybe they might want to give me an extra 10 G's. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is they get to take it over. They'll sign it. They'll make up a new contract, and they just sign it over. That's what they allow. Noval allows this too. Those are the only 2 places that I know. I'm pretty sure there's another. Because it's pre-construction, there's no delivery yet. In fact, I'm questioning the next level to this is if they haven't built it, can they actually have title? And we know it takes almost a year to get a title, even if you have that land in your name. And which is another question, if the land's not in their name and they have to do a double escrow kind of thing, then that's another 1.5 to 2 years. So again, these are the things that transparency, they are never, because they want to keep selling units and they want people to insinuate and guess what they're doing. So right now, we have probably a few hundred buyers who have paid for their unit because it's past March. So some of the Horizon people have went past their deadline. The Prime Towers has went past their deadline. Paradise Towers is approaching their deadline. And Breeze 1 Tower is approaching their deadline, which was June, I believe, of 2026, which not going to happen. They've barely even moving dirt around there. But the point is, They haven't even told people who purchased 3 years ago anything about this. You have to ask. They're not putting out videos. They're not talking to anybody, saying any of this stuff. So that's what's so maddening about it. But yet, when you say, hey, I'm not going to pay, I'm tired of your BS, da da da, they go, oh, yeah, well, the reason why we never said nothing, basically, is what it is because we're going to tax you 2% late fee inevitably till the end. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. That's what I sent them. I sent her the thing saying it. Does it really matter? You're not delivering in 7 months. Does it really matter when a person's payments would come in? It only should matter if you delivered and you actually negotiated and did this not in good faith in the first place. That's one of the main tenets. All right. So yeah, they would do that too if I wanted to upgrade. Like if I still wanted the place and I said, well, give me one of those. Well, I can't do the penthouse unit, but they won't do what Galaxy did though, man. They won't do that. They won't upgrade me to the same year prices. Galaxy did you a solid. They actually allowed you to go from Gulf View to Ocean View and pay whatever it was, 10 to 20 G's more in 2019 prices, not 2026 prices. I don't think Larimar's that cool. They ain't gonna let you. Like for instance, they're not gonna let me get the penthouse unit that I always wanted. They're not gonna sit there and go, "Oh yeah, Eric, you can have that for $246,000." No, no, no. You can just pay us an extra 90 G's. No, I think they're probably selling them things for 500 or 600 right now. So I don't think they're gonna let me do that. I highly doubtful. Which that would be awesome, quite frankly. But nonetheless, that's a great deal. The new person is still getting a great starting price. Galaxy is doing it with already signed owners only. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Galaxy would probably do it because what they did with you, it doesn't hurt them because they already know, like me and a few others. I was like, I'm done paying you guys because of your BS. I don't even see you delivering until 2028. And they're sitting here telling people December 2026. I'm sitting here at the end of 2027 for Prime Towers, best case scenarios, and maybe even into 2028. So why are you worrying about anything and then talking this late fee stuff? I'm like, what am I supposed to charge you for being late? They take no responsibility for their BS and lies. But anyhow, let's go. That's a great deal. The new person is still getting a great starting price. Galaxy is doing it with already signed owners only. Yeah, exactly. I know Galaxy would do it because they did a solid for you. All new buyers pay the current price. Are you reinvesting the money? That's the game plan because the sooner I get some of that money, the more money I'd be able to double within a month. The way this stock market's going. So, but remember, I had an SSS life. See, here's my problem. Remember, we had an SSN lifestyle plan until all of a sudden, all the plans for SSN lifestyle on the island went to because of the way they do business there. There's no way that you can predict when you were going to be able to have your units ready for the SSN Lifestyle Travel Vacation Club and all that. As it turns out, none of it would have happened. Zero. There is not one project that we would have been into that would have delivered. Even the one from the gardens, Panorama Gardens, they are still barely delivering units. Just now getting some things finished. And you know what the other thing is? Of course, it looks similar to the renderings. They still don't even... It's incredible. Like, for instance, at the Panorama Garden and Panorama Park, as a clubhouse. Okay, fine. The clubhouse looks pretty close. Pretty close. But there was supposed to be a driveway that you could drive up to the clubhouse. That's not there. There was supposed to be a pool next to the clubhouse. Almost where in my unit, which I'm 3 from the clubhouse, 3 buildings over roughly I was supposed to be. Across from there is where there was going to be a massive pool. So now you could be sitting on the patio, the kids are across the way. That's one of the reasons I was picking this. And you can just walk about 100, 300 feet, so about 100 yards to the clubhouse, where there's food, fitness, yoga. Cool. Perfect location, damn near. Yeah, well, you know what they put there? A freaking soccer field. I was like, what is that? The soccer field was supposed to actually have its own arena at Panorama Garden. Guess what? Apparently not. So again, all these guys, and imagine 2020 to 2026 before you had delivery, which is what basically has happened. So all these timelines upset what we were trying to do, and it was going to be awesome. But now, like I said, when I was there for 2024, I realized none of that can happen. None of it. We'd still be here 2 years later. Hey, Eric, how did you like those emails? I didn't do the emails, man. Sorry, I got wrapped up. All right, hold on. You know I'm locked down, right? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you smash that like button. All right? Give it a 1 piece. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, click the all notification bell. And by the way, the icon, which I humbly appreciate, next to Post-Retirement Travel's name means he's a member of the channel. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, please do so. And let me see something else, because I forgot about one other thing. We got other things happening. I forgot the other platforms, but it's all good. Okay, first of all, those other emails, let me go find them. I'm messing around with some AI thumbnails, ladies and gentlemen. You know the thumbnails we've had or resemble each other for the last 5, 6 years are now come to an end. Canada Groceries payment. Here's when you could receive it. What? Canada Groceries? What's this that you're seeing here over here? Brian P., Mr. Dividend. What's happening? Yeah, so Connor Rock, who's the developer? Who's the developer for Connor Rock, by the way? I don't even know. But all I do know is at least they're trying to give their buyers, their investors, an actual option for them being late. They're not sitting there going, oh yeah, well, too bad, so sad. We're just going to make up new stuff on while we told you something 6 years ago or 4 years ago. That's crazy. Canadians will see their one-time groceries benefit payment on June 5th. Are we serious right now? They're getting some sort of stip in? How much will you get? $267 with no children, $441 with one child, well, they're getting stimulus. In Canada. Combined, a family of 4 could receive up to $1,890 in 2026. That's right, $1,890. Are Canada's doing this? Wow. This is crazy. Ground beef per kilogram has doubled the price of whole chicken. That's crazy. Canadian food prices are out of whack. Chicken costs $8.57 per kilogram? Yikes. Wow. That's not that bad. That's 2 pounds. Ground beef rose $1.10 per kilogram. Bananas were up 14 cents per kilogram. Wow, this is out of control. So they're giving people stimulus checks, stimulus one-time grocery payments this summer. Hey, hey, I'm not mad. I am not mad. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's real cool based on how many people are in the household. Now that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. Here we go. I don't get that. I understand minor adjustments to the original renderings, but totally changing or omitting facilities is a breach of contract. Frustration is the least I would feel. Exactly. That's how I feel. See, that's where the problem starts coming in. All these mega projects that were megas all of a sudden turn out where they're like, oh, well, it's all right. It's okay. We took this thing away. Just like at Cruise on Land when they said they're going to have a 5,000 seat arena. Casino. Same thing that Larimar said. Music venue, casino. Where are they at? I mean, same type of stuff. Atlantita, we're going to have this 5,000 seat arena. I don't know if they still are, but they're way behind. They're nowhere near finished. They're probably not going to be finished for another 2 years, 3 years for their first phase. And they're talking about making, I don't know if River Island or Atlanta, there might be a condo hotel. I was like, what is all this stuff? I'm just like, I'm over it. But this is one of the reasons why in 2024, all the light bulbs started lighting up. Because like I said, I was getting ready to start being in their realm. And of course, I was using my motto, takeover, in 2023. And if I would have got the funding, it would have been complete takeover. Because these guys haven't changed any of their ways. And I would have people would have loved it because they would have said, wow, I got a 40-month contract. So there wouldn't have been really any pressure. All we would have had to do was the normal timeline. We would just said, okay, it takes 1.5 years for us maximum to transfer the titles twice on the back 40. But the first one's a clear title, so we can have that transferred within 1 year. But we're still going to tell people you have 46 months because it's the prudent thing to do, so people have a lower payment. They're not going to mind paying for 4 years and have lower payments. And they see the progress with the 24-hour cam. See, that's one of the things. So people could just go online and go, man, I wonder what the progress looks like. Wouldn't have been no thing, right? That's why I would have taken over, because these guys are still doing their same old BS. Telling people 2 years, 30 months, 36-month payment plan, knowing full well it's going to take 5 years, potentially, depending on how you bought the property. So that was the whole point. Once I learned out the timelines, I was like, all these dudes are messing around with people's money and hearts and everything. Because I was like, this could be 3 to 5 years before you even get your title situation right under the extreme circumstances. So there's no way. So that's why you hear a lot of things about developers delivering, and then they're saying, oh, well, we can't get the title. It's going to take another year. Yeah, you should have been working on that from the get. But that's the whole point, you know? Yeah, that's how I feel post-retirement travel. That's like a breach anyhow. So they're going, oh, Eric, you stopped paying us. I'm like, yeah, and so what? To me, it's minor. To them, it might be major. But for on my side, I'm like, because I knew you weren't going to deliver in December or September 2025. Hell, you're not going to even deliver in September 2026. I already knew this. So why didn't I just make it prudent where I would just wait, see what you do? Now we see what you do and you're changing the rules. So now I'm in the same position. I don't like your rule changes. I don't like that there's not any levels. I don't like that there's no 5-star hotel being built right now in order to have delivery this year. Which you can't do anyhow. You can't build hotels in 7 months or a year. Generally, it's 1.5 to 2 years. If you're going to have, I think they're going to have 200 rooms. So Yeah, you're not building that in 8 months or a year. That's crazy. And if you start this thing about showing me these renderings with these cool buildings, well, those cool buildings are traditionally that they show are traditionally not going to be panel buildings. Now, all of a sudden, if you go panel buildings and just basically give me a square box, okay, yeah, you can build those pretty fast. But you're still not going to build it in 6, 7 months, even though it is only 4 or 5 stories high. So I don't know who these guys are out here. I don't understand this gaslighting. It's annoying when they could have just been on the right side of this and said, hey guys, this project is going to be one of the best in the world. It's taking us extra time. We have overrun. Just be straight up. And everybody, look, it's a 2 year, just like Cruise on Land told everybody 5, 6 months ago. Oh, well, guys, first phase is going to be 2027. Now, they didn't do anything about it because everybody's delivery date was September 2025. So people paid their full amount traditionally. But the point is, at least they told people. These dudes keep going, well, December 2026 now. I'm like, no, ooh, yuck, why? You're making one of the, well, could be one of the best projects in DR. Could be. So why don't you act like the good guys? Why don't you tell your owners who have, like the Breeze Towers who have delivery December 2026, how come you haven't called them up and said, hey man, we can't deliver this for 2029, 2028. So whoever wants to take advantage of this, you guys can we're going to run out your payments until 2027, December 2027. We'll give you an extra 12 months on your payment plan. That'll reduce your payment. They could be on the right side of this. They could get more customers because of this if they acted right, but they want to be arrogant out here. It's crazy. It's mind-boggling, really. Didn't George invest into Cruise on Land? Yes. Yep. Yep. Because Cruise on Land, just like everybody else, they changed up their thing. Cruise on Land was supposed to have 4 buildings, the first phase. Because they got behind and all of a sudden, whoopsie, now all of a sudden they said, well, it's only going to be the first 2 buildings. Well, George is in the first 2 buildings. But then they started changing. Their layout is totally different. Those 100 attractions and the roller coaster and the buggy ride and the Top golf setting type thing, driving, the driving course. That appears to no longer be there. The casino's not mentioned. They were the water park. I mean, it goes on and on. There's a revamp on the way it looks, kind of trying to make it like a Margaritaville. It's going to be interesting because there is no way. See, this is the thing in DR. Like I said, until you can deal with electrical, water, sewer, waste, I don't understand why you're doing a amusement park type atmosphere on an island. That is not a thing unless the amusement park is really an amusement park. You can't do this Kathmandu 1980s, 1995 rides and stupid stuff. We thought they were bringing something new. Instead, they're bringing something from the 80s and 90s, like people are going to sit in a cart and bang, bang with lights like it was 1987. This is crazy. They thought that was a good idea. Come on. That was a waste of time. And then trying to charge people $100 a person for that garbage? You can go to Disney. I mean, this is insanity. It was insane. Who? Why? It's this arrogance that just drives me crazy. Aye. George, yeah, you should get a discount when they omit a promised facility. That's another project that comes in through my Facebook feed sometimes. Exactly. Yeah, they changed theirs too. In fact, they just changed theirs and put it on their website, which is even funnier. I mean, look, Look. You know what it looked like, but look what it looks like now. They're still going to have that water park area, but see, they were supposed to have some stuff outside of their loop. They were supposed to have man-made lakes, two of them. They were supposed to have man-made beach, two of them, and that didn't happen. Look, I'll go right now. This is because they actually have stuff on. They actually show. Let me see if this is. Do we got English on here yet? There we go. Is this it? What's this? Let's go see. Shall we? I don't know what that is. Hold on. I gotta go check out some emails. Okay, there we go. I don't hear anything.
Camino descubre algo de ella misma que no sabía que estaba ahí. Esa es la mejor parte. Nosotros imaginamos un mundo donde todo eso es posible, porque creemos que la vida no se cuenta en días, se cuenta en recuerdos. Eso es Cruise on Land. Mucho más que un mundo donde cada detalle fue pensado para emocionarte. Un lugar donde cuidamos nuestro planeta para que nuestros hijos también puedan vivir las vidas que sueñan. Un mundo donde cada experiencia...
Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. That is not gonna cut it. All right, can you guys believe this? That is not gonna cut it. Did you see that nice touchy-feely looking thingy that they were doing? That's crazy. Come on, stop. This is insane. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. I have it back now. Hold on a second. Let me go get this. Let me go grab this. This is fun stuff. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. This is now the...
Tienes que animarte a vivirlas. Bienvenido a Cruise on Land Punta Cana, el primer life experience park and resort de Latinoamérica y el Caribe.
Let me know what you guys think about this. This is not what the renderings originally look like, is it? Look at this. They're trying to make it like Margaritaville. In the Dominican Republic, by the way. Just keep that in mind.
Hay una vida donde madrugas para ver salir el sol desde la playa. Hay otra donde cierras los ojos y el mundo se apaga por un rato. Hay otra donde brindas por el amor en una luna de miel eterna. O donde vuelves a ser un niño que ríe por todo. Hay una vida donde bailas sin que te importen las miradas. Esas son vidas que están ahí para ti. Solo tienes que animarte a vivirlas. Porque no tienes que elegir una sola versión. Pueden ser todas. Quien baila hasta que sale el sol, o cena cada noche en un rincón distinto del mundo. Puede ser alguien que canta, que explora, se divierte y en el camino descubre algo de ella misma que no sabía que estaba ahí. Esa es la mejor parte. Nosotros imaginamos un mundo donde todo eso es posible, porque creemos que la vida no se cuenta en días, se cuenta en recuerdos. Eso es Cruise on Land. Mucho más que un mundo donde cada detalle fue pensado para emocionarte. Un lugar donde cuidamos nuestro planeta para que nuestros hijos también puedan vivir las vidas que sueñan. Un mundo donde cada experiencia se transforma en un momento para toda la vida. Creemos en eso, en que el bienestar, la felicidad y esa espiritualidad que sientes en ese instante se funden contigo para siempre, porque esos momentos se quedan con nosotros, nos transforman, nos sanan. Agua, tierra, aire, fuego, Y sobre
Building
todo,
2,
amor.
no furniture.
Cruise on Land es una historia. La historia
So
que
now
tú
that they're
elijas
calling
vivir,
this a condo
donde
hotel
puedas ser
resort,
el que
what does that
viaja,
mean?
el que descansa,
That would be
el
messed
que se
up.
reencuentra, el
This
que
would be
juega,
a condo
el
hotel
que se
universe.
enamora,
Timeshare is
el
what
que
it is.
vuelve a sentir. Creamos un mundo para que
And
nadie
they're
tenga
calling
que
this a
decir,
condo.
tal vez en otra vida.
Okay,
Todas
here we
las
go.
vidas son en esta.
100
Solo
attractions
tienes que
today.
animarte a vivirlas. Bienvenido a Cruise on Land Punta Cana,
30
el primer life
gastronomic
experience park and
experiences.
resort de Latinoamérica y el Caribe. ¿Qué vida
Okay,
quieres vivir?
so here's an entrance, I guess. But this looks different.
Vida donde madrugas para ver salir el sol desde la
Vegetables and
playa.
things like this.
Hay otra donde cierras los ojos y el mundo
Go
se
learn
apaga por
about
un rato.
agriculture.
Hay otra donde brindas
Big
por el
Island,
amor
this
en una
is
luna de
totally
miel
changed.
eterna. O donde vuelves a ser un
Theater
niño
was
que ríe por
supposed
todo.
to be somewhere
Hay una
here.
vida donde bailas
And where's
sin
the
que te
buggy
importen
ride?
las miradas. Esas son
We're
vidas que
supposed to have
están ahí
like
para
buggy
ti.
rides, a roller
Solo tienes que animarte a
coaster, all that.
vivirlas. Porque no tienes que
That's
elegir
what
una
Nick
sola
say.
versión.
And in the amphitheater,
Pueden ser todas. Quien baila hasta que sale el
yeah, I
sol.
don't see those movies.
O cena
Those
cada
theaters
noche en un
look
rincón
like
distinto del
Hold
mundo.
on, let's see.
Puedes ser
This is
alguien que
totally
canta,
changed.
que
Oh,
explora,
it's out
se
back.
divierte
Is that a
y en
track?
el
Yeah,
camino
that's a track.
descubre algo de ella
So
misma
there's
que no
supposedly
sabía que
buggy
estaba ahí.
rides.
Esa es la mejor parte.
And
Nosotros imaginamos un mundo donde todo eso es
there's the
posible,
sports.
porque creemos que la vida no se cuenta en
Oh, sí,
días,
sports here.
se cuenta en recuerdos. Eso es Cruise on Land. Mucho más que un mundo donde cada detalle fue pensado
Yeah,
para
they're calling this
emocionarte.
a condo hotel.
Un lugar donde
Wow.
cuidamos nuestro planeta para que
Now you
nuestros
can own
hijos
the
también
park
puedan
hotel
vivir las
operation
vidas
for
que sueñan.
$92,000. What they
Un mundo donde cada experiencia
No, Dave,
se
that's
transforma en un
$94
momento
per
para
night.
toda la vida.
and for okay,
Creemos en eso,
that's
en que el bienestar, la felicidad y esa espiritualidad que sientes en ese
Wow.
instante se funden contigo para siempre. Porque esos
Wow.
momentos se quedan con
Mm.
nosotros, nos transforman.
this is really
Nos
sad.
sana.
But hey, we tried to work.
Agua, tierra, aire,
They make a video
fuego
about this.
y sobre todo,
They
amor.
have also
Cruise on
said
Land es
they're
una historia. La historia que
That's
tú elijas
cold-blooded.
vivir, donde puedas ser el que
Remember,
viaja,
a lot of
el
people
que
are gonna be happy.
descansa,
They got a
el que se
two-bedroom
reencuentra,
penthouse
el que juega,
for
el que se enamora, el
what
que
was that,
vuelve a sentir. Creamos un mundo para que nadie
$127,000
tenga que decir, tal vez en otra
something
vida.
like that.
Todas las vidas son en esta. Solo tienes que animarte a vivirlas.
This is
Bienvenido a
crazy.
Cruise on Land Punta Cana,
See, this is what I'm saying.
el
Look at-
primer
oh,
life
by the
experience
way,
park and resort de
in
Latinoamérica y el
case you don't
Caribe.
remember, this was
¿Qué vida
opened
quieres vivir?
different way. They changed this design on the interior here, which is kind of for the better, but aesthetically I don't really like it, but it's cool. They changed the pool, by the way, or
Hay
whatever.
una
they-
vida donde madrugas para ver salir el
Change
sol
that.
desde la playa.
So yeah, there's
Hay
been
otra
some
donde
changes
cierras
here.
los ojos y el mundo se apaga por un rato. Hay otra donde
Phase
brindas por el
one,
amor en una
remember.
luna de miel eterna.
So,
O donde
yeah.
vuelves a ser un niño que ríe por todo.
So that's just a reminder. This
Hay
is
una
what they
vida
do.
donde bailas sin que te importen las miradas.
Change things up. They change things up. Oh, I had not seen that marketing video. Exactly. Yep. Oh, an amphitheater for concerts as well. Where are the pool bars? No, there's not going to be an amphitheater. Remember, it was supposed to have like a 5,000, 4,500 amphitheater across from the, the roller coaster and buggy rides and all that. No, not happening. Not happening. And the pool bar is across from where I showed you, where that that tower that was brown, where it showed separate floors. It's across from there where there was supposedly a pool. They still have it that looks like a ship kind of thing. That's where the snack bar, I'm calling it a snack bar because I know good and well they're not making an actual restaurant there. So it'll be a snack bar and drinks. So people can be in the water and pull up to the bar. And then there's a pool there, and then people lounge around it. But they put this other little, it looks like a lap pool out there. It could be a kiddie pool, but they added this other pool area, right, element, which who cares? I'm worried about the water. Where are you getting all this water from? That's what I'm worried about. I'm like, all these resorts, like Larimar, where's all this water coming from? That they're going to line these beach pools for a mile. I mean, I know it rains, but still, that's crazy. Crazy. Eric, the COA video is replaying. Hold on. Let me go check this out. Yeah, let me get. Oh, yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate letting me know. I just cut it off. You can disconnect the video now. Thanks, man. Glad I didn't see that. Can't see you, Eric. You disconnected your video. Oh, it's all right, man. Thank you for letting me know the most important part. It's all good. All right, hold on. Hopefully you can see me now. 24 seconds, 35 seconds. Let me know. If not, that would be bad. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to stay up on this any longer. I just figured I would do the Dominican Republic tourist records, how it's happening, March 2026. Good for investors. Let me know, ladies and gentlemen. Post-retirement travel, do you think this tourism numbers are good for the investors? I know you feel a certain way because you've already said it. You said, I like the atmosphere that they're increasing, the roads, the bridges, the streets, the lighting. That to me is just, that's the cheapest stuff to create. Like I said, once I'm there, I have to make decisions. And I don't really mind. I mean, I don't mind too much. I know I can't drink the water, right? Just like in America, I don't drink the water, so it doesn't really matter. But the point is, I know I'm going down to get bottled water, right? Standard issue. So that's not that bad. My concerns are after that. I'm taking a shower. The water is tainted. You can smell the water kind of thing as a foul odor, right? They have no water treatment, so to speak. So it's kind of like I need stuff. If you're going to make this a place where a lot of people need to go and want to go, and you're making all of these aesthetics look cool, then you need to make sure the infrastructure that people can't see, but they're going to have to deal with when they're taking showers, when they're even at a pool. I mean, all this stuff starts adding up when you add more people into the mix. It's all good when you're underperforming. It's all good when you have a 75% occupancy rate for hotels and you have a 30-some% occupancy rate for the island for short-term rentals. What I'm asking is what happens when those numbers aren't those numbers? When 75% hotel occupancy is 85, when short-term rental occupancy instead of 31 is 71. You have double the people coming for short-term rentals, and you have 20% more people coming to stay in hotels. What are you going to do with all this added weight of electrical, sewer, water? What's going to happen? That's a bad recipe for all these aesthetics. Instead of ripping up roads, making sure you got systems in, and making sure you have electricity that's going to work for all the island, instead of you can stay over in Las Semanas and all of a sudden you're out of electricity. You're no electricity for a day or two. Common, right? Live up in the mountains, no electricity for a day or two. Common. And people that live there, they're like, well, this always happens, so it's no big deal. And the water always smelled this bad, no big deal. We know what's bad, forever chemicals, toxic chemicals in our water when we're putting our fruits and vegetables and growing them. But we're still alive. See, all that crap, I don't like. Okay. Hopefully you can see me, man. Let me know. Because it shows me on the screen. Uh-oh. Here we go. Now I see what you're referring to. I guess we're going to have to terminate this. Gentlemen, I don't know if that changes anything, but it looks like we're going to have to terminate this live stream. So I want to thank everybody for being here. If you guys can actually see my face, please let me know. If you can't see my face, please let me know if you can still hear me. But it appears that there is no video. and I tried to take it off, and now it looks like something happened, but it's all right. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you. Great conversation tonight. Hopefully, yes, we can see you now. Okay, thank you. I was getting ready to say, if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about, please do so now, because the stock market, of course, it's it's off the charts. We already told you, back up the truck a week ago. All right, QVC Shopping Channel files bankruptcy to cut 5 billion of debt. Bye bye. Over 65K Ram trucks recalled, include 2025 and 2026. Jesus. More than 50,000 toys recalled nationwide over death risk to children. Are we? Come on, man. Wow. Biomarker based blood test signals Alzheimer's years before onset. That's interesting. Honda Odyssey with faulty airbags linked to 25 injuries. Mercedes-Benz recalls more than 25K vehicles. Phone chargers catching on fire, exploding. Casely wireless portable power banks. Casely wireless portable power banks. Ford recalls about 1.4 million pickup trucks. Good God. Abbott defeats lawsuit alleging Similac contaminated by heavy metals. How did that happen? Because there were heavy metals. Kia recalls 141,000 vehicles, including the 2022 to 2026 Kia Carnival model. This is insane. Yeah, the nail polish remover recalled. We talked about that on Wednesday. Gel nail polish. It's crazy. Popular sweetener linked to DNA. Oh, no. You guys do not ever. None of the equal, none of the sweet and low, none of the sweeteners, none of that sugar, raw sugar, none of that. Come on, man. Are you kidding me right now? Which one is it? How come you're not giving up the name? Widely used artificial sweetener. Come on. Sweetener may not be biologically inert. At once believed, researchers raised concerns that a little-known chemical linked to sucralose. The main ingredient, Splenda, ladies and gentlemen, can damage DNA and interfere with key processes in the body. Oh my God. Oh. No Splenda, ladies and gentlemen. Do not do it. Do not do sweet and low. Do not do the raw sugars. Do none of that crap. Jeez. Oh, boy. Here you go. Let me do it this way. I want to see what Google says. Oh, they're saying monk fruit, which is good. But they got the other one that we talk about, stevia, ladies and gentlemen. That's the one, and it's still cheap. And does not spike your blood sugar. Low glycemic. Just saying. Okay? Just saying. Stevia. And they also have monk fruit on here, which I'm not really that familiar with where I get monk fruit from, but stevia is relatively simple because it's a plant-based sweetener and hundreds of times sweeter than sugar, so you only need a little bit of it. And literally 80 packs is like $4, $3.50, $3. It's relatively inexpensive. All right. Thank you so much. So that's it. Stevia, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Pretty simple. Not that hard. All right. If you're going to take sugar, that's the way to go. And in fact, just look on the back of everything, carbs and sugar. Just remember what a pack of sugar looks like when you're out eating and it's a coffee, that's a gram. And then you think that a soda, for instance, you drink a soda and it's one serving, and you go, oh, let me look on the back. Right now, when you guys hang up, let me go look on the back, and you see 26 grams of sugar, 26 packs of sugar in a 16-ounce can, 12-ounce can. Do you understand what you're doing to your body? You have upset the system. And You haven't even looked at the carbs yet, as carbs turn into sugar in your body. So now you're looking, it says 24 grams of sugar. Does that say 19 grams of carbs? Holy smokes! 24 grams of sugar, 19 grams of carbs. That's 43 grams, 43 packs of sugar in a can of soda. How long do you think your body can flush and try to divert and keep working, trying to get that stuff out of your system fast instead of in your bloodstream carrying to all your organs? It works awfully hard until one day it doesn't. And then you say, oh, I'm diabetic. Oh, I have Alzheimer's. I have brain fog. I can't operate. My organs started messing up, one of them. That's where this all starts, because you guys aren't paying attention out here. Health is wealth, ladies and gentlemen, and your government's not caring. All right, enough. Dominican Republic, broke records all year long. This is the first time by these wide margins, 30, 40,000 more, 50, 100,000 plus, 130 roughly thousand people more came in the month of March than the previous year. That is significant. It will not hold up all year, but so far they've already clocked in, what is it, 2.6 by air? So all they need, well, they need another 6, but nonetheless, it's doable. They're going to get to 9 point, well, I'm not going to say going to, they should, 9.3 to 9.4. If they get past 9.4, that's a pretty good win. But the point is, they're behind. They're supposed to have 10.5 million to 11 right this year. Next year, it's supposed to be 11.5 to 12. That's a huge hurdle, and they are going to add another 20 to 30,000 hotel rooms and short-term rentals over the next 2 years. So it's going to be rough. All right, I ran upon something the other day. Oh, this place in Santo Domingo. No, it's 45 minutes outside of Santo Domingo, and it was called Guava Berry. I might have talked about this. I started doing a little research, and it's past Boca Chica. What was the name of that place? Oh, Juan Dolio. It's about 45 minutes outside of Santo Domingo. I've never been in that area, so I don't know what it's like, but all I know is when you're close to the beach, that's pretty cool, right? But they had this 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Somebody's trying to offer it for 160 grand. So I go and look on Airbnb, ROI, and I'm out there looking, and everybody that stays at the beach, they have so many units at the beach in Juan Dolio. And they were charging like 1-bedrooms, ocean view, $60, $50, $79. 2 bedrooms, $79, $99, $89, ocean views. Guava Berry, a golf course environment, well, beautiful. But that 160,000 price tag, you can't rent at the beach for 160 for a 3-bedroom. There is no way you're renting interior wise. It's like 2 miles or 1 mile, I don't know, from the beach. You're not getting 160 per night, even if it is in one of the coolest golf course communities, gated golf course communities. And I don't know how many people stay out there, but I did look under ROI, and they had low occupancy rates, even on the water. There's some people, obviously, when you have a 2-bedroom and you're charging people $79 a night, yeah, and you're right within 50 feet of the water, yeah, they're going to be rented up. So they're going to have a higher occupancy, like 80%, 70%. But for the most part, people didn't have those because there are so many units on the water. And I couldn't figure out a way that you could make it better, even though that Guava Berry unit, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 160K, golf community, kind of like Cocotal. I was like, but it's not near the water, kind of like Cocotal. Except Cocotal, they have, they can still charge money. But nonetheless, that's how it works. Anyhow, I'm going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2 hours. If there's anything else you want to talk about, please do so now. I love you guys. I appreciate your support over all these years. I'll see you on Monday at 8:50 p.m. or maybe not, because my aunt's surgery is Monday. They haven't given me a time yet. Today it was 4 p.m. Who knows what will be on Monday? But either way, you guys will know my mood on Monday night. And I want to, again, thank everyone for being here. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes I always have to throw down. Let me see. I only have 2 videos out here.
Come on, come on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, SSN Lifestyle. By the way, this has been a long video. It's 2 hours. I should have asked this from the beginning. But if you need help, findhelp.org. Go check it out. If you live inside of America, make sure you guys put in your zip code and find out exactly what can help you out. 80% of people in America need help. They're living paycheck to paycheck. And even people that aren't living paycheck to paycheck needs any type of financial relief. There's possibly financial relief there. Children, adults, seniors, everything. It's there. See if there's something that can help you out. The other thing, I have a decision that I could actually make, because there is a model that I was talking about before where Larimar could make sense. I don't know if it's still going to make sense, because I could do SSN Lifestyle was going to be part of where people can stay for a week. They have a membership, so to speak. But with that said, I don't know how it's going to work out with this so-called rental place, but it's very interesting, because I'm trying to figure out, which I'm going to find out probably tomorrow, because it's a question that needs to be asked. If I'm not in the rental pool, or if I'm in the rental pool, it does not really matter, because you can allegedly black out dates. Well, we know how this usually works in a rental pool. Usually they only give you, you can only stay a week during high season. Mid-season will give you like 10 to 15 days. And low season, that November, that September, you can stay up to 30 days, right? That's where the problem comes in, because I don't know. So that might be an only way that I would keep this, but I just don't see why it would be worth it to redo this. Because then we were going to have other things at Vista Cana. So a person was going to be able to pick different areas as part of the SSN Lifestyle Club. And so we do have an SRL on the island and all that, but there's no reason to do anything, because everybody's late for all the projects that would have been cool. They still haven't been delivered. This is crazy. So that's the thing. If you guys have any input or want to give me any suggestions, let me know. Make comments down below. It was an SSN Lifestyle. It's not up anymore, but this was something where people would put down in there. And it's not cheap. I mean, it was going to be $2,000, but that was prior. Now it would be into the $4,500 to $5,000, but see, it's a lifetime thing. So you always have a week at one of these places, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, There was a hierarchy on if you were in the executive club, then you would always have a place. You have a hierarchy on rental and reserving based on because your entry point was higher, and it was going to be a lifetime thing, and it was only going to pay. You have an annual due of dues that were going to be if only if you use it, so you can use it. If you don't use it, you don't pay, but you'd have like a minimum $100 or something annual membership fee or something. It was something along those lines. But if you decide to go, then of course you would pay like, while everybody else has to pay 1,000, you pay 300 or something. It was something minor. So that way you would go. You don't feel like it's a timeshare where you're like, oh wow, it cost me $1,100 this year, and if I use it, I pay. If I don't use it, I still pay. That wasn't the thing. If you don't use it, you don't pay your annual HOA, call it. So there was set up for several different things, and it was going to go worldwide. And so, but that was based on the numbers were right. The number is still right because their prices didn't increase. So we'll see, but I just can't see after finding out more about what they're trying to do. Trying to turn into a condo hotel scenario is definitely not on my. But remember, I have the Farallon view. That view is priceless, but again, it may minimize it because they may say we're in a rental pool, which I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to say. Because the people that are in the back that doesn't have any view whatsoever other than the building behind them or whatever, that unit would not be the top units that people are going to stay in unless they said, well, for the 2-bedroom, we're going to charge $99 per night. Okay, well, that means the person gets $50 per night or less after it's all said and done. That's not going to work for buying something for 130, 140 grand. That's the 2 bedrooms. That would be a joke, right? So all I can say is I'm going to give you guys a perfect example of why I don't like condo hotels. Just go look at La Reserva Royale. What is it? Reserva Real. That's by Cocatel. That is a condo hotel. Go online and look how much they're charging per night. It's a no-vol property, so people did not pay no 89 grand or nothing like that. It was touted as being right next to Cocatel, so they upped the price a bit. And these people, they're charging $89, $99 for 1 and 2 bedroom units. And that means a person's getting $45, $50 or less because they're in a rental pool. And now how many nights are they really renting? So now we're talking about buying something for 130 grand, 140 grand, and you're getting $45 per night. That's not even 8,000, 9,000 a year. Seriously? That's not even 0.1. That's not even 10%. You're under that. You're at 6 or 7. Best case scenario. That's a travesty. And that's where this goes. And that's why all the people are trying to get out, because the short-term rental game, they're finding out, wait a minute. The condo hotel, the guys managing it, we make hardly any money. This ain't Margaritaville. All right? This isn't a Disney property. All right? Where you can charge people $500, $600, $400. No. All they needed to charge people was 130, 140. But when you have these condo hotel type properties, you have to make double. So let me give you an example. In order to make $89 per night, which is your 1% or 0.1% because you bought a studio for 89 grand or a 1 bedroom for 89 grand, that means they have to charge 170, 180 just to get you to where you should be receiving your 0.1%. That's where the problem comes in. And it's no fun to be under 10% because you could have just put the money without all the headaches into a stock investment. And you would have, over the last 5 years, you would have been, things have been off the charts. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much again for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Just know it's hard out here. A lot of people are out here stressing by rights. So just try to increase your cash flow, reduce your debt, learn how to do your stock market trades. I'll have a candlestick trading Bible down below in the, not the description box. Oh yes, in the description box, not in the chat room. In fact, why don't I just add the candlestick trading Bible? You should learn how to do that. The Bankus card. This is, I'm going to put this up first. Just download the app, please. It's a referral bonus if you decide to order this crypto debit card that you can use anywhere in the world and ATMs, and it doesn't have anyone's name on it. And you can send money to each other at no additional cost. Bankus to Bankus, in-house. What more do you need? You can refer other people, make a little money if they buy the card, make a little money when they upload. You can find out more Tuesdays and Thursdays. So download that. We'll talk about, I'll make a video. In fact, I'll talk about it on a live stream as well one of these days. Probably next week. Why not? All right. So Chevy boy, I see you. Okay. There goes the Bankus. Use that link. I think that's the Bankus. Did I mess up? Yeah, I think I did. Bankus. Let's go. Oh, it didn't show anything. Okay, it's out. Okay, the Candlestick Trading Bible. I'm going to put this in and then I'm going to leave. Just remember, you're going to have to learn a new skill set. AI is here. Nobody's coming to help you. You're going to have to help yourself. Just keep that in mind. All right, so here it is. Candlestick Trading Bible. You can download the PDF. Make sure you have it for yourself. And then, if you still haven't done stock market trading, I have CoinEx. And it's a referral link, yes, indeedy. It's outside of U.S. jurisdiction once again. So, why not? Use CoinEx. You upload crypto, download crypto. Simple. And you can learn how to trade. They have a demo account. That's why you get the Candlestick Trading Bible. Study. It's 168 pages. It takes time. And at the meantime, you have a demo account and a live account, but the demo account doesn't cost you any money. And then you can start looking at charts. You can start practicing using trading platforms and understanding how to trade at no additional cost, no risk. That gives you options right there. And you want to do TradingView, that's fine. They have brokers that also have demo accounts and you can sign up with and learn how to trade as well. So I'd recommend doing that. Trading with real estate, I would recommend doing that, but it has to be the right situation. Condo hotels, I've made videos about that. You can just easily Google the channel or search the channel and you will see I have like a 3 or 4 or 5 part series on why you should not do condo hotels. Even if you are in Las Vegas. The only way you can do condo hotels, just what we talked about tonight with Cruise on Land. They're selling a studio unit apparently for $93,000. What you don't know is there's people that bought a studio unit for $52,000. Who has the advantage when they have the same unit as you, but you paid $93,000, they paid $52,000, they rent it out for, let's just say, $100 per night. They get 50%, they're happy. You get 50%, you're sitting there at the end of the day going, well, wait, I only got like 7% this year. The other person got like 14, 15% or more. You're not going to be very happy. You might be happy with 7 or 6%, but I wouldn't be. Inflation is more than that. So that's where the problem comes in. All right? So just stay vigilant, do what you have to do, but you have to invest, and it has to make sense. Single digits. Some people feel it makes sense. It kind of does. It just depends on you. Not everybody's the same. Some people will accept 5%, 3%, 4%, 1%. Others don't bother. So it all depends on your trading style or your investment style. So with all that said, just make sure to always keep your head up, keep moving, and